And it wasn't bad, it's just a lot.
Yeah. I just, the world stopped for a couple of weeks and let me catch up.
That's what I thought too. I said, look at.
You got your glass up, you don't take these off because of your glass, we're more than 6 feet. I will not talk through it, because I've got my shots,
But on the back end,
and I got my glass.
it was conditional on the ag business. I thought we had passed it. We hadn't passed the ag business?
No, not that
No,
one.
we hadn't. So that's the, okay.
Oh, we did.
No, we didn't. It was ag business we didn't do. Or did we?
Yeah,
No, it was
yeah, we did.
it was 7, me and Todd talked about this earlier, and this will be something definitely for Mike.
For Mike, yeah.
The ag business, was that passed in all those zoning amendments, is 7.1.1.18?
Pretty sure it was. Yeah, we did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I remember saying, okay, now that would allow
Exactly.
Mr. Hightower to come
We
back.
had a question about should we go ahead and do it, or should we wait till this meeting?
So which one didn't they bring forth?
We denied
The
it.
one about the A3.
Acreage.
That was it,
Yeah, the A3 stuff, what they.
Yeah, the A3 did.
That's
I know,
it,
I
A3
wasn't here.
stuff, the A3 stuff.
Oh, okay.
That went back because they weren't ready for that.
Yeah, you weren't here.
Do we have
Did you
anything,
guys get that?
It was.
are they working with zoning and planning on correcting where we've got parcels that are out of compliance now when things come up? Are they making an effort to correct those? No?
Yes, so
Ask your manager.
that was, yeah.
You look at me like, oh,
Yeah. So we started that process, and it like on every map, all 200 maps, on every map, they turned out to be like 15 or 20 on every map that's out. So then we gotta figure out, okay, so how you gonna do it? You know, in the city, we could do it we done it a little different, because we had leverage. We had literally called everybody or sent them a written agreement to everybody and had them say, we wanna change you from this state to this state. Are you in agreement with it? Because of X reason, which is gonna be individual letters, and that's really the only way you can do it.
Well, if we're actually changing the zoning classification, we've got to go through the
The whole process.
The whole process,
Exactly.
yeah.
The only thing is you can waive because we're trying to clean up something, we can waive a rezone fee. But it ain't gonna cost you anything.
Yeah,
We're trying to
we
get
can do
the
that.
maps right.
And we can do it administratively. It still has to go through the process.
Exactly. It has to go
We
through
can
the same
initiate it,
process.
yeah.
Right, you initiate it, but you gotta have the hearings and all that.
So she did start looking. I had her go ahead and start looking, and she started making a list, and I'm like, wow, this is gonna be an expensive venture.
Well, look, we got a couple more minutes anyway. What are churches typically listed as?
They can be in most any zone.
Yeah.
They can be anywhere.
Yeah.
But
But
probably
a
not
church
business.
property, it can be A1, A2?
Correct.
It can be just
It
about.
can be pretty much anything. There's a federal law, the religious, I think it's part of the Religious Freedom Restoration Act, is to say a church can't locate in any zone, you have to show a highly compelling governmental interest. So basically that means they can be where they want to. Well, the church is already there, and what they want to do is sell the parsonage.
Then they'd have to,
And it looked like the parsonage in 1.5 acres or 2 acres of land is zoned A2. Yeah, if it's no longer gonna be used by the church for religious purposes, then it'll have to be, it'll have to be zoned for whatever it's
Separated.
gonna become, yeah. I'm just
but
kidding.
if it's, I think, Mike's question, but if it's ever been attached as a whole, you can't unattach it and create a unconforming lot.
Exactly.
If it's already plotted separately.
If it's plotted separately and the church just owns it, then that's just a standalone tract.
Right, that's right. But if it's all platted together,
You couldn't just carve out.
yeah, then they'll have to carve out at least 2 acres if they want it to be RR, or 1.5 for R1. But they can't be an A2 with 2 acres. Correct, if it's gonna be A2, it'd have to be 5. Right, that was the part of it that caught my eye. Yeah, that's right.
I bail. I got so much paperwork up here. If I get distracted and I'm on the wrong page, just let me know I'm on the wrong page. You got it. It's all right. Yeah. Just got a couple more minutes. What's up, brother? What's up, man? Before anybody goes to Facebook, the reason I don't have my mask on is I have been vaccinated. I am more than 6 feet away from you, just so you know. I couldn't quite get you 6 foot in there, but I tried this morning. I rearranged this room. I know somebody will go to Facebook like, oh, Lord.
If we've been vaccinated and we're 6 foot, can we take them off?
Yes. If you've been vaccinated, yes, sir, you can. Now you can breathe,
Well,
Travis. Thank you.
Just exposing your family. No. I'm aggravating you, Travis, you know that. I got my Madison County Red Raider one though, but I had my booster too, and so
You hope you did.
I just had one. I got the third one, so I'm supposed to be good to go, even though
I'll probably get
immune
schooled
to
in just a
prison.
minute when the lady gets up here to tell us about it.
Yeah.
All right. Welcome everybody to the Madison County Board of Commissioners regular business meeting, August 30th, 2021, at 6 p.m. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. In front of you, you have a copy of the minutes from the July 26, 2021 regular business meeting and the minutes from the August 2nd public hearing, August 2nd agenda work session, and the August 24th special called meeting. If you see no discrepancies, I'd ask for a motion to approve all four in one motion, please.
Move the minutes be approved as presented.
I have a motion by Mr. Chandler to approve the minutes.
Second.
Second by Mr. Kirk. All in favor? Any discussion? None? Denny?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries. Business involving guest groups and multi-visitors. So just for anybody that has a copy of tonight's agenda, a couple things has been stricken from tonight's agenda, and it's Audie Mitchum from the Atlanta-Chicago Ballet Workshop. Her father, Zach Mitchum, come down with COVID and couldn't attend, so we decided to put that off into the next September meeting. But we have a few special guests here tonight, some guys I'm really proud of. Mr. Logan Fisher, Will Hart, Levi Seagraves, Blake Cooper. Guys, y'all, not only did y'all represent well, y'all showed out. I mean, big time showed out on a national stage. And tonight, I'm going to read a proclamation for you gentlemen. Whereas the Madison County High School Bass Fishing Team participants in the Georgia High School Fishing League and currently 8 two-man teams in the top 60 rankings. And whereas the teams of Rising Juniors Will Hart and Logan Fisher and the team of Rising Seniors Levi Seagraves and Blake Cooper recently competed in the U.S. Army High School Fishing Championship at Lake Hartwell, which included 398 boats in a 4-day tournament with the high school fishermen from around the world. And whereas the team of Will Hart and Logan Fisher finished second in both the national and the world results, while the team of Levi Seagraves and Blake Cooper were in the lead after the first day and finished close behind them in the overall tournament, taking 6th in the nation and 7th in the world. And whereas Competitive fishing has become a major sport at all levels, with Hart and Fisher having amassed over $500,000 in scholarship offers from colleges around the country, and Seagraves and Hooper also attracting offers and interest from numerous schools. And whereas high school competition requires family commitment as well as with Will's father, Chad Hart, captaining the boat for Hart Fisher team, and Levi's father, Travis Seagraves, captaining the Seagraves Hooper team, and whereas the accomplishments continue Madison County's proud tradition of excellence in our youth achievements. Now, where there be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Madison County congratulates these young men and their parents, along with the other members, coaches, captains, and supporters of the Madison County High School Bass Fishing Team for their dedication, focus, and hard work. I will need a motion to approve tonight's proclamation for these gentlemen.
So moved.
Second motion.
I have a motion by Mr. Doster, second by Mr. Chandler. Any discussion, gentlemen? All in favor?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries. So it be resolved, the Madison County Board of Commissioners on the 30th day of August, 2021. Gentlemen, I'd like to present these to you. And I will put them out. Come on up, guy.
What's the French fry guy?
French fry guy.
Let Miss Margie get a picture of y'all too.
Sure.
Can I call them out?
Come on up here, guys. Two and two, how about that? Two tall ones on the end. What up, Brother Will?
All right. Well, doesn't make you smile or not, does it?
Yeah. Jeez!
Well, you said everybody's smile. I mean, I'm gonna get a couple. It's more important than ever, your eyes are open, you can't see your mouth. All right, thanks.
Gentlemen, congratulations on an amazing season and way to represent the Madison County Red Raiders. Thank you so much, each and every one of you. I'm very proud of you. I followed it. Thank God your parents put it on Facebook for us. Y'all got some TV coverage, correct? Yes, sir. An amazing job.
Great job, guys.
Yeah, very good.
Well done, boy.
And thank y'all parents.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I guess the proudest thing for me, you know, and I get a little shaken on this, but I'm proud to say that I know each and every one of you's parents, and every one of you guys come from just phenomenal families. Be thankful for what they do for you. You know, they're the ones that make this thing go around. You know, when you're on that big stage, remember Mom and Dad went through the sacrifices to put you on that stage, even though your hard work succeeded. But without that family pushing you, that's what made it happen. I'm proud to be friends with every one of you. Thank you. If y'all want to stay for tonight's meeting, you're welcome to. I think somebody told me y'all have a fishing tournament.
We got a meeting.
A meeting?
Fishing meeting, not
A meeting. All right, I do understand if you have to go. But guys, thank you again so much from the bottom of my heart. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Y'all can spread out a little more now.
Thank y'all. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
See you soon.
That was phenomenal to watch, those guys. They went to Texas, come in second. It's neat.
Will Hart's. He related to Will D. Hart.
Who?
Is Will Hart related?
That's Johnny Hart's son, Chad on the end. That's Johnny Hart's grandson,
Will
Will.
D. Hart's.
That's Will D. Hart.
Oh, Lord.
Every one of those boys is born and raised right here in this county. Makes me feel really good. All right, so Miss Kelsey Tyner, Shelley Palmer, and Alan Lazinski, grant opportunities for the Madison County Center for Active Living has been postponed also due to Mr. Lazinski. Well, due to COVID. Let's put it that way. I knew we was going to have a larger audience tonight, and with the situation being what it is, with our COVID numbers going up, we decided to postpone that until we have either a little bit larger room or a little bit smaller crowd. I wasn't sure how many parents was going to show up tonight, so I asked that to be put in the September meeting. Now, with that being said, Ms. Elizabeth Allen from the Department of Health, would you please come give us a report for our county.
Quick update on some COVID numbers.
Thank you. You're welcome. I'm just saying, is it okay if I stand right here?
Welcome to.
All right,
Tell us
good
who you are.
evening. Can we stand so I can see everybody? Up there.
No, I mean, just, you facing us.
All right, I'm good right here. Oh, right, facing
But
me.
yeah, tell us who
Okay.
you are and where you're from.
All right, good evening. My name's Elizabeth Allen, and I'm a registered nurse at the Madison County Health Department. Been there for about 2 years. I was at Clark County for 2 years prior, but born and raised in Madison, so this is my home. So it's nice to serve my own community. All right, so tonight I would like to briefly discuss how the COVID-19 pandemic is currently affecting us as a community. So just some brief numbers, and all of this is public data that's available on the dph.georgia.gov website. But to start us off, in the past 2 weeks, Madison County has had 361 positive cases. That's in the past 2 weeks alone. Now, if you want to do this with the per capita of 100,000, that would roughly be 1,196 cases. The state of Georgia is currently recording 1,127. So we're at 1,196. The state of Georgia is at 1,127 for that same ratio. So we want to win in most cases, but we don't want to win in this. All right, next one is there has been a sharp increase recently because of the Delta variant. Since July, it has made up roughly 92% of the total positive cases. And then since the beginning of the pandemic, a total of 3,415 cases have been reported in Madison County alone. And of those cases, 57 are confirmed or probable deaths, and roughly 184 have caused hospitalizations. So the numbers are increasing, 57 since the beginning of the pandemic. Not too bad, but worse than zero, right? Like, we don't want anybody dying from this. So
One's bad.
One is
One's
bad.
bad.
Exactly right. All right. Let's go on to vaccinations. So as of last Friday, roughly 42% of the county have received at least one vaccine. And 37% are fully vaccinated, which they have either received 2 doses of the Pfizer or Moderna or 1 dose of that J&J. Good, but not as good as it could be. I mean, you can see with our increase in cases, we definitely need to ramp up our vaccination. So with that being said, here at the Madison County Health Department, well, down the street at the Madison County Health Department, we offer all 3 vaccines, Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, Moderna, 5 days a week. You can have an appointment, don't have to have an appointment. We're here to serve our community. So send them to us. We want to vaccinate, want to protect our people, protect our own. Currently, we are offering a $10 Walmart gift card to anybody who receives a vaccine, just trying to increase our uptake. Some might think of it as, are you trying to bribe me? Well, some are like, hey, $10 Walmart gift card's something. So with 1 shot, you get a $10 gift card. If you get the J&J, you get a $20, so you get 2. So if you complete your series, you get $20 to Walmart. Woohoo, but ultimately we're looking out for our friends and family. And as I'm sure most of you all know, 2 weeks ago, Pfizer was approved, FDA approved, so that's also helping us out at least vaccinate. We had a lot of hesitancy, but with that Delta variant and that FDA approval, we've definitely seen an increase in our numbers, even in our 12 to 16-year-olds. They're coming in for their school shots, and they're getting their COVID vaccine as well. So that is my numbers. That's all I've got. Questions?
Could you update us on what it means when the hospitals are on diversion?
They can't accept any more patients. They're diverting out, and pretty much all hospitals around us are on diversion. So where are you going to go? Travel to Atlanta. When you get to Atlanta, what they're going to do? Divert you somewhere else. I mean, it's a constant diversion. So to help that, help everybody else, get vaccinated, wear your mask, stay 6 feet apart, do the best you can and what you can. And it's not for you, for everybody else, you know. We're a community. We love each other most of the time, right?
Sally, where are you at with the boosters? Have y'all started giving those yet?
Yes, sir. We started that, was it last Monday, I believe?
Are they walk-ins also?
They surely are. Yes, sir. We can put them in our system quickly.
And you have all 3, the Moderna,
Yes, sir.
whatever we had to start
Yes,
off
sir.
with.
Yep, and the boosters are only offered for the Moderna and the Pfizers right now. J&J is still that single dose. If you had Pfizer or Moderna, and you've got one of those conditions, we're here to serve. Definitely come see us. We'll give you that 3rd dose.
What are your hours?
On Monday, we're 8 to 7, Tuesday through Thursday, 8 to 5, Fridays, 8 to 2.
But now the booster's just for the
Immunocompromised.
immunodepressed for right now. You're looking forward for the booster probably in September for
Exactly
the
right.
8th month, right?
Exactly right, and that's probably going to roll out in like the tiers, if you think about it. First was healthcare, then the 65 and up, but it is that 8-month window, just like you mentioned.
Because I got my booster because I had a liver transplant, so
Yeah,
therefore
you
that's
count, you count.
Yeah, so
count.
but I just want to sort of make that clear that right now,
Right, exactly right.
you got, it's what, I guess it's gonna come out maybe that it's gonna be 8 months, you gotta, after 8 months you can have it or whatever?
Yes, but I'm sure we're going to do the tiered kind of
I got
approach
you.
to it too, because if they open it up to everybody all at once, it's going to be like when it first rolled out, and that was a mess.
All right, so it'll be the older folks first.
Probably, yep, and then kind of moving our way down.
Yeah.
But
We call those seniors, not older folks.
Well, I
You're not old.
consider myself an older folk,
Experienced.
experienced.
One part of this, you hear very little about, and I don't know what role y'all have to play in it, but educating the public on how to care for themselves if they contract COVID at home, how to care for themselves. Have y'all done any work on publicizing what are good practices? Or can you?
we haven't done as much just because of a lot of things, staffing and just trying to figure it out, but we can put up some billboards and put some posters up around town on preventative measures, or after you get it, kind of stay at home.
Well, I think we probably all heard plenty of preventative, but if
When you get it, stay at home.
once I'm tested positive, how do I manage my health at home?
We can
To
do
get
it.
it.
Are they, any of those kind of type things on the state website or anything? Or is that?
They are. There's a ton of handouts on the dph.georgia.gov as well as CDC. CDC's look a little bit better, a little more colorful.
Right.
If
And
there's
I'll,
some information you can get to Margie, I'm sure that might be something that you'll be interested in helping publicize.
I'd be happy to. I know Margie.
One other question, is there anything that we can do from a board to assist you?
Get these people vaccinated, but it's, easier said than done. How are you gonna do it? What's that final point? I had a family come in last week that grandpa's in ICU on a vent. Oh God, we need to get vaccinated, like this is hitting home now, And I hate that it got to that point. But there was something.
Do you have numbers on how many of them are like school-age children that have COVID or?
Well, I do have the Madison County school system numbers for this week.
Okay.
You wanna hear those?
That'd be good to hear.
I'd be happy to.
Yeah.
So there's a total number of roughly 5,000 students in the Madison County school system. Of those students, 62 of them are confirmed positive just this past week. There's roughly about 750 faculty and staff members. 14 of those are active positive cases.
Now, for clarification though, this is, the numbers that you just read, from the 361 to those, are confirmed from a doctor's office.
Exactly right. Now, that's a good point.
Yes.
You can go to CVS and Walmart and buy those Binax antigens over the counter.
Right.
That we have no way. I know friends who have told me, yeah, we bought 6 boxes and tested all our friends, and 2 were negative, 4 were positive. We can't record those numbers.
Yeah.
So, but it's a good thing to have.
It is. I was
definitely
just
get those
fixing to ask
positives.
you, would
Oh,
you
yeah.
recommend people going to CVS or Walgreens or wherever and buying these just so they have their own self-protection?
I would, and then I would also, if you test positive, I could take that as a positive, but if you test negative, we do recommend that PCR to confirm that negative, which is that one that takes 1 to 2 days. We do have a free site in Athens off of Mitchell Bridge Road. You can get to it off the DPH website as well. It takes about 1 to 2 days for those results to come back. That's that kind of gold standard test.
I was gonna say, if I may, I live in Clark County, and the health department has made all of this so easy. I did a test at that Mitchell Ridge site. I
Oh, yeah.
I was
Ooh, that
in
was
there,
hot out
I
there.
was in and out in like 4 minutes and 10 seconds.
And you were in your car the whole time.
I was in my car the whole time.
So it is nice. We try to make it feasible and accommodate, because I know we're all busy and we don't really want to be there in the first place. We're doing our best to.
But it is safe to say that while there are some crossover cases into people that are vaccinated, it's tremendously the other direction in regards to percentage of the population The unvaccinated are very susceptible to the Delta variant.
Exactly right, and their disease process is a whole lot more intense than if you were vaccinated and got it.
Right.
Mhm.
My last question will lead along to what he just said. Could you explain to the board the difference between what you're personally seeing in the health department as far as a COVID patient coming in that has been vaccinated versus a COVID patient coming in that has not been vaccinated? What would be the difference there?
And see, that's hard for me to kind of speak on because we don't see positive cases in the health department. They're mainly coming in to us for vaccination. I can't really
Speaking from our EMS director,
Okay,
what
he's
they
better.
Yes, what they have told us is they see a non-vaccinated COVID patient, you got a good chance that you're going to end up in the ICU. You're seeing the guy that's been vaccinated that tests positive, getting sick for 3 or 4 days. That's what he's telling us, and he's also telling us that they're seeing more numbers between the age of 20 and 50 versus before when it was 50 to 70.
And you think about it, I have actually numbers here on that. Our 65 and up population is, let me see, where's my number? I mean, we're at the top end compared to the state of that age group of being vaccinated, completely vaccinated in our county. So when you think about it, it's, the younger kids, I'm young, I don't need to get it, And that's a lot of the mindset too. I can fight it off if I get it.
Yeah, that's one thing about being immunodepressed, because I take my anti-rejection drugs and stuff like that. So, my Emory doctors, where I got the transplant, just in February of this year, said that the chances of me getting COVID, I could still get COVID even though I'm vaccinated, but that it would probably just make me sick, and I might have some worse symptoms than somebody else that was vaccinated, didn't have the immunodepression, but that it probably would not kill me. But if I didn't get the vaccination with my issues, it probably would. So
your immune system's ready. You've had 3 shots.
Yeah. So that's the reason I built it up. So I agree with you. I think it's one of those things that people should think about and very seriously.
And do the research. I mean, there's nothing. I mean, the research has been published. You can see what's in the shot.
That's right. Just don't believe everything on Facebook.
Facebook gets you every time. Every time.
Miss Allen, thank you very much for an update.
Yes, very good. Thank you.
We really appreciate it. We thank you for what you do, and please be safe because you're out there first line.
We'll do our best. Thank you.
Can I just ask a question?
Yes.
If I go to the, health department to get a shot, my doctor told me I needed a booster shot today. Do I need to have a doctor's note?
You do not. So we are going off of patient words. That was something that we went back and forth on in our district, and it's not something that we want to fight over. It's not, that's not what we're here for. So you tell us you've got a condition that you need a third dose for, we're here to give it to you.
Right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
That's good information.
Very good.
All right, moving on. Thank you again. And you don't have to stay for this whole meeting if you don't want to, but I do appreciate it if you're welcome to.
I'll do this
now. Chairman's report. I would ask everyone to stand while I read this because this is for a moment of silence. If you don't mind, I'm sorry. For a moment of silence for our fallen soldiers that paid the ultimate price protecting our beloved country. I would also like you to say a prayer during the moment of silence for the rest of our servicemen and women still fighting to protect each and every one of us here tonight. With the 20th anniversary of September 11th fast approaching, I would ask that you keep in mind the 2,996 innocent people that lost their lives on this day in the attack on our country. Please remember why we should respect and thank everyone in the uniform. Thank you. Now, I knew we wasn't really going to have another meeting, but I felt like we needed to address September 11th. God only knows what's going on right now in the world. Quick update on the Madison County Chamber of Commerce. they're hitting record numbers. As of now, there are nearly 90 new members that have joined the Madison County Chamber of Commerce just this year. That's phenomenal. The new Chamber's website is up and running. Please take time to visit it. If you are looking to grow your business or want premium exposure, please contact Miss Anna Strickland at the Madison County Chamber of Commerce. On August 17th, a tornado went through Madison County, and I would like to express my appreciation for all the hard work and the joint efforts of the County Road Department, Sheriff's Office, EMS, and our local volunteer fire department, along with community members coming together to remove debris from roads and yards, aiding our local electric companies to have quick access to restoring power. While there were several properties severely damaged, there were no injuries to report. Jason, I know you from Hull. You was all the way in Iowa with a chainsaw. But people like you matter, and that means a lot. Thank you, son. EMS, this is all just what's happening here recently. EMS, after much negotiation on price, 5 Pro ALS monitor defibrillators have been ordered. These 5 will take the place of a non-supported Philips MXR monitors. I would like to thank Bobby Smith and Josh Chandler both for their efforts in handling the negotiations. The purchase price for all 5 defibrillator monitors was $164,000, down from the original quote of $244,400, a savings of over $80,000. Good job, gentlemen. The quote was from a single source provider. Funds to pay for these items will derive from the EMS capital outlay line item and the SPLOSH funds. I think this has been in motion now for a few years, but it actually finally matured. Just a quick note, it probably won't hit the paper, but with the Hurricane Ida coming, as of 5 p.m. today, we're at slight risk in Madison County of 1 to 2 inches of rain, possible high winds at times. I just wanted to throw that out there just because Bobby Smith sent me the report on it. That's the end of the chairman's report. Any statements or remarks from citizens on tonight's agenda? All right. Old business, consider submitting a request for proposal to select a company to perform personal property audits. Mr. There he is.
On or off?
You can be off. You're
Okay.
6 foot away.
Okay. So I guess we're here tonight to consider a yes or no vote, right?
Yes, sir. They asked you to bring some numbers, is that correct?
Well, they asked me to look into maybe hiring someone, which would have to be a CPA. I got as far as finding out what the salaries were and decided that probably is not going to be something we could do.
Okay.
And the reason being is if we go with a company that's going to give us a contract and we decide after the initial 3-year contract, and may be able to write it up to where it's a year for year. If we decide after the first year that it's not beneficial, we may say, well, we don't want to do another 2 years. That's something that we'd have to get into once we do the proposals. But even after the 3rd year, if we decide this isn't something that's beneficial to the county, we don't have to do another contract with them, where if we have someone on staff full-time and it's not beneficial to the county, we have an employee that we're having to pay every year for who knows how long. I know you and I talked last week about the feed mill, the difference in value in the feed mill, and it's got to be in the personal property because there's no way we can get another $5 million on the land and improvements, because that's what we have on land and improvements. We have $15 million on machinery, equipment, furniture, fixtures for the feed mill. And you were telling me that there's an identical feed mill in South Georgia that has 50? How much was it? Almost double. Almost, yeah.
But it could be, like you say, it could be on the other.
It could be on the personal property, which is the only thing I can say that it could be on, because land and building, you know what land is worth and what improvements are worth straight out. We're not relying on the company to return that stuff to us. We can go out and physically look at that and pick it up and value it. So I guess what I'm asking tonight is just, for you to consider letting us go ahead and send the proposals out and see what we get back.
So if this board would agree, for an RFP to go out, is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Okay.
When would you have that RFP ready, or have you
Well,
already got it ready?
It's ready, it just depends when y'all want to send it.
Well, it's not a binding contract, it's just an RFP.
An RFP just to
Right.
get some, just for them
That's
Just
what,
to bid on it or whatever.
that's what this packet is,
All right.
right here. The stapled part is the actual RFP, and the rest is just documentation, and it kind of shows you numbers, what to expect per year range, percentages, values, stuff like that, an estimated tax dollar.
Robert, you've been helpful that, in the evaluation criteria, something we have done, and we felt this in past efforts, is ask them to submit the price under a separate cover. And that way, when you do your first initial review, you're not persuaded by just looking at the bottom dollar. You're looking at the actual proposal, their qualifications, you score that, and then after that, you can have, like, say, Christina, hold them, and then after you submit your initial scoring to whoever your evaluation group is, and then say, hey, these are the top 2 or 3, we want to see what their pricing is, and that'll give you a little bit better, sense of, because a lot of times in the past, if whoever's doing it just opens it up and they just always drop down to the bottom, and it may indirectly affect some of their scoring.
Okay.
So, offer that as a suggestion.
Yeah.
Have we already developed a matrix to score by?
It's already it's in here. You've got the evaluation criteria that,
Page 4 of 4.
firm experience, 10%, qualifications of staff is 10%, understand the requirement, 20%, references, 20%, contract furnished equipment, 20%, and then price is 20%.
I don't see where it would hurt to go out for an RFP. We're still not tied to anything at this point. So
Sure.
Right.
I think that'll give the board a little more information when you're there. So I need a motion.
To do this?
Motion
Make a
to go out for
motion, we
RFP.
pursue an RFP.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Adams, second by Mr. Doster, all in favor, Brian? Oh, any discussion?
I just had some, I've talked to Robert about this, I'm still unsure that I'm sold on this whole process. And again, submitting requests for proposals, takes us nowhere. But I just still have some questions, and I shared these with Robin. Number one, does this present us in the era that we're trying to attract business? Does this present us as being business unfriendly? Also, are we handicapped by the fact that we don't currently have business licensing requirement in the county? So how do you define who is a business, who is not a business? If somebody that just has a dump truck and hauls gravel, does that? So anyway, there's just a lot of questions that I have that I don't know that. There's still some unknown. I'm still not comfortable with at this point.
And I think that's understandable, and the way our system is set up, if it's listed as a business where, it may be a backhoe, a dozer or something like that, those aren't anyone that we would look at, because we know what a backhoe costs and we know what a dozer costs. Their trucks and tools, well, first of all, tools are exempt up to a certain point, the personal tools that they use. The dump truck would have a tag, so that wouldn't be anything we'd look at. And then the heavy equipment would be, that we get the heavy equipment when someone does a UCC form through the clerk of court's office. We get the UCC form saying, hey, this person has got a loan with the bank for a piece of heavy equipment. We know about those. So I think that may ease your mind a little bit as far as those go. And I know that a lot of the owners, taxpayers, business owners may consider that we're trying to, single them out or pick on them, and that's certainly not what we're trying to do. What we want to do is, I guess, two things. We want to educate them on what we're looking for them to turn in to us. And the best people to do that are these companies who have experience in doing the auditing, because they'll look at their books and say, hey, this needs to be turned in, this you don't have to turn in. This equipment is so many years old, it can be listed as salvaged, you don't have to do anything but a minimal value on it, things like that. And it also will make sure that the ones who are already turning everything into us are being treated the same as the ones who aren't. We want to make sure that everybody's uniform in what they are turning in. If they have it and it's supposed to be taxable, it needs to be turned in.
Yeah, I guess this would be most helpful with those larger businesses that we really don't know we really don't know what they're worth, because. That's
right, and I mean, we may go over to GRP and find out that we are way undervalued on their personal property. And that's a big account.
Yeah, so.
But here again, the RFP doesn't put us in a position where
It's
we move
correct.
it one way or the other.
It's not a contract.
It sets the stage as part of the evaluation process of where we want to go with these.
That's correct.
And I probably would suggest that when the RFPs come back, we would go over those during a work session so we can iron out every detail, just like what he's describing. To me, it's, from being a business owner and it being retail, I'm looking at it sort of like a door lock. It's just there to keep the honest man honest. It's nothing underhanded trying to do. We're just trying to make sure everybody getting treated the same.
Right, and we're not trying to punish anyone.
No.
We just, and it's something that's overdue. We've been needing to do it for a while, so I think it would be at least beneficial to look at the RFPs.
When we visited the other day, one thing I didn't think about, you said this, you gave me a statistic of how many counties are doing it, and I don't remember what it is. Have you visited with the counties that are not subscribing to services like this and see what they are doing?
No.
You don't mind do that just as a curiosity to see what somebody who's not subscribed to this is doing, so if they maybe some creative alternative out there.
I can look and see which counties are not doing going with a company, and they may be like us. They may be smaller counties that haven't in the past been able to afford to use an audit company, and may be doing the same thing we're doing, just trying to do the best they can. Mm-hmm.
Just as a comment, one thing I'm thinking about, because I don't know, I'm one of those things that sort of person that's trying to think about a little bit in the future. I see where you're talking about, could this be something that people look at as being detrimental to coming into the county with a business? But the thing is once we do get some business in the county, if we don't have already our system sort of set up and they know it's fair, or then we come across and add something and then people start perceiving it as not being fair, that's going to be a worse thing, I think, and a disservice to them. So, it's like the RFP, just like Dean says, is bringing it and getting that out there in front of us now, I think is an important thing to understand what this is going to bring to us and what it's going to cost us, and then, make a decision so that we know when is the right time to do this. If it's not this year to pull the trigger, when is it? How many businesses do we have in here before we need to do that? And, are we losing money now? I don't know how we determine that without hiring somebody, but, I think some of these businesses that we got, when they're looking at I'm sure they're going to take into consideration what we got in the county, or know about what we got in the county, or at least I would hope if they're going to bid on it, they're going to investigate sort of what we got in the county.
I would think they would, yeah.
And then sort of based on that, they could tell us where some opportunities are, or, whatever.
And we may get to a point where we do the RFPs and turn them in, and then if you decide on the company that you want to go with, we could have them come in and answer questions for you before.
I think
you sign a
that's the appropriate thing to do.
I think you'll find, though, to answer part of Terry's question on this, I think you'll find that larger businesses accept this as governmental practice. This wouldn't be a deterrent to attracting a GRP or something like that at the end of the day, or any other large business, you know.
I think it lays the foundation of wanting to be where you know you're gonna be treated fairly. I think it's more of an appealing process than anything.
I agree.
All right, so I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
I wanna be clear, and I'm not opposed to getting the RFP out there, but, I wanna circle back on what a few things it says, like, let's get the RFPs and get them up here and then we'll decide. I'll defer to the counselor, but the process needs to be that, or whoever, we need to define who will be like an evaluation team, have that group review them, score them, and make a recommendation, and then only then, if that person, we can negotiate if we want to add scope or change scope, because you're kind of changing horses if you don't. So what I don't want to happen is to come in one meeting and have all the proposals up here, and then everybody just start talking about what we might want, what we don't want. That'll get us in trouble, and not doing it all.
I don't know if this would be possible or not, but it may be something that the proposals could be opened then during the work session. If you want to do a work session to look at the proposals, they could be open then, and then, board could be the...
Well, I think what Commissioner Dawson's saying is the opposite. I think the only reason this one's even here now is, typically the administration puts out an RFP, because there's no decision being made, and the board doesn't make a decision until the administration puts it out, gets it in, forms a committee, you have your tabulation sheets, your committee comes up with your recommendation, and that recommendation comes to the board. I think the only reason we're at this point now is because, you and the chairman said, this is new, this is different, we don't want to go through all that process if the board's not, it's just going to say, what is this, we don't want to do it when we get there. But once you put that out, that's right. This doesn't need to be a free-for-all here. This needs to be, you need to form a committee of knowledgeable people to look at those proposals, rank them, come up with a recommendation, bring that to the chairman, and he'll bring it to the board.
Okay.
What I would expect is like a list of kind of like, here's our scores of the top firms down to the bottom ones, the recommendation, even if the top firm is not recommended for some reason, just articulate that, and then that's where we, would either accept or question the recommendation. But like that, we don't need to, where we don't need to be is deliberating between companies, and after you rank them, if we choose not to go with the first one, we've already set a priority, so we need to go to the second one. You can get kind of some trouble if you start.
Okay, I see what you...
Sounds to me it's almost like a high-level job interview where you ranked all your...
That's right.
Your candidates, and then this is the one we think we ought to have, and then, but you're taking it before the people that are actually doing that.
That's right. We don't want to come in here and sift through.
Yeah, we're not sifting through it. You've already said these are the ones that, and then we can start to look at them and say, okay.
Would you want that board to be made up of like Board of Equalizations or a separate board?
I think that's probably up to the two of y'all to figure out what.
You already have a board.
You might want to pull some people from.
Maybe Board of Assessors.
Board of Assessors, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
that was my bad.
Yeah.
And you might want to combine some different folks from some of those.
Sure.
Different boards that maybe have some expertise that you might could leverage.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So that's all we need?
Correct. So the motion stands, it's dropped, correct?
Yeah, you don't need it,
Yeah, we're good.
So we just do the RFP and then come back to you?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, buddy. Consider Zachary Hightower's rezone request, 3.53 acres from A1 to B on map 2 parcel 40 is how it's written.
Yep, that needs to be changed, this needs to be, go to ag business.
You wanna come on up, Zach?
This would be a conditional use, conditional use for ag business in its existing zone.
Yeah, but we don't have an application for that yet, so there are different things. So You know, that's the
But
thing.
for our consideration, we understand that's what we're looking at. This is.
Well, for tonight, the only thing you've been through the process on is the rezone from A1 to B. There's another process that, you know,
For conditional use.
for a conditional use
And
permit.
that's what I was explaining to Linda today, because so my impression was we was bringing it back to go right back over what we already had done.
Exactly.
And she says, no, it's conditional use, and we ain't got a permit for that. I'm like, I didn't know we were going there for a conditional use.
Right. I mean, we have, I mean, you passed the ordinance amendment, so we have that available now, but you still have to apply for it, just like any other conditional use.
So when you talked to Linda, she didn't tell you that?
No, sir.
All right.
She wasn't aware of it, she said she wasn't aware of it.
So let me just interject. So tonight, we can, as a board, we can give, because there would normally be, what, a 6-month time period?
There's actually not. So,
No,
and
not
that
in
only
this particular-
applies, so, yeah, we can take that off the table. I mean, if I were Mr. Hightower, I would just withdraw this one, start the new process, no waiting period. Just go ahead and start it, get the 2 public hearings, and get back here on the conditional use permit.
But he can start that today,
I
right?
can start that, well, in the morning at 8 o'clock.
All right.
Actually, I'm a little disappointed here, because after we made the approval of the process, I called Mr. Hightower the next day and told him to go to see Linda and find out what he needed to do. Because we approved the conditional use option, and that would be where he fits. So I'm a little disappointed that he wasn't given the right information, so we can take action on this tonight.
There's a little, I've got to be honest with you, there's a little bit of a disconnect somewhere down there, because I know we've got, one of the neighbors here also tonight. We got Zach here, and we don't have anybody here from zoning and planning to explain.
We've got a member here.
Got a member here, excuse me, but we don't have anybody here to represent zoning and planning to tell us why Zach didn't have the opportunity to go ahead and post this. I assume is what we've had, which would give also, and Robert Davis is one of your neighbors there, and I know y'all have met, but also gives them the opportunity for public comment.
Right.
And I mean, in fairness to Zach and to the neighbors, Robert, Lynn, and all like that, we need to quit kicking this can down the road. Somebody needs to figure out what's going on down there in zoning and planning and straighten them out, or get them informed about what needs to happen. I mean, at the end of the day, this isn't fair.
No, yeah, I mean, so, you know, the night after y'all approved the amendment to the ordinance, anyone could apply for a conditional use permit in A1 or A2 for this. I don't know when the publishing and meeting schedules were, but however quickly that could occur, then, you know, you could get back here and get that voted on.
I'd like to say, I did call Linda today to verify when this was approved or denied, the wording on it, and she said that it needed to be voted for a conditional use. That's where she was
That's
in her office, was to be voted.
See, but there's been no application for
Yeah, but
conditional
Zach
use.
should have been given
Right.
information
People
to
have, the
apply.
public hasn't had a chance to comment on whether they want
I see.
the conditional use granted, which is very different than rezoning it to be.
I guess I'm completely, I get the conditional use, I get the ag business, I get it all, but that's not actually, what the original application was for.
Yeah, that really doesn't matter. The frustration here is we.
Yeah, I get the frustration part, I mean, I totally understand
Zach's being
that.
delayed, Mr. Hightower's being delayed because he wasn't given the right information.
I mean, let me just ask a question, Mr. Hightower.
Yes, sir.
If you knew that you need to make reapplication for this conditional use thing, you would do that, right?
Yes, sir, I would've.
Okay.
I contacted Linda the other day and asked her what I needed to do before this commissioner meeting. And she acted like she knew nothing about it, knew nothing about what I was coming up here trying to do. And everybody here knows the whole deal, what's been going on.
So we apologize to you for that.
Yeah.
And,
Profusely.
and, yes, and, I would say that what we need to do now is, unfortunately, you need to make that reapplication, and, I'm sure that, the chairman here can help it to make sure it is done.
Yes, sir.
Correctly.
So what's gonna be the wait time on doing this?
It's the same process, it has to have a public hearing at P and Z and then the public hearing here immediately followed by the vote here.
Yeah. Again, that's. the
Which is
reason
2 months,
I'm apologizing.
technically,
Probably.
technically 2
Yeah.
months.
Yeah.
So who do I need to contact to find out what's going on down the planning and zoning? Somebody that has best interest for me, cause obviously nobody knows nothing down there in planning and zoning.
So you come into my office in the morning and we're gonna walk down there and fill out your application.
Right, there's a conditional use application. I'll tell you, it's sections 11.3, .4, and .5 of your zoning ordinance is the procedure for a conditional use application. So that's where it is. And, yeah, hopefully y'all can straighten that out tomorrow.
I'm trying to recall though, originally, the very first meeting when you did not want a conditional use, you didn't wanna be called ag business, cause you
Well,
said.
it wasn't available at that time.
Yeah, well, for one, but you still didn't want that because you wanted to be able to, if that business closes down.
Right.
And you wanted to open another business, you were trying to go from A1 to business.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Period, which is,
Yeah.
could be done tonight.
That's exactly right.
And this conditional use is just a sidestep that you could use, but you would rather be at business
Yes.
because you don't know that you're gonna be in the ag business 3 months from now. You may
Correct.
be a mechanic 3 months from now.
That's right.
So
That's
if you
why you're
wanna
trying to
go
go to
forward with
business.
this first, you can do that.
So we can go ahead and do a motion to do.
We can go ahead, the board can vote on whether or not, public hearings have been held, the board can
Okay.
vote on whether or not to grant a rezone to B. If that vote is no, there is no 6-month waiting period, because conditional use is different than a rezone. And I looked at that this afternoon, so.
Is that fair to the landowners around it?
Sir?
Is that fair to
We already
to
have.
the people around it?
Which
That's
part,
where
sir?
it all started.
I didn't hear you. Which part is fair to the landowners around it? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Strictly business, you know.
Well, they had that public hearing 2 months ago, I think, where if he actually applied to go to business 2 months ago and was voted down
Right.
at that point.
No,
Because
I
there
think
was
that's
new
not
zoning.
back. We haven't had the vote on that
Yeah,
yet.
we postponed.
Yeah, we postponed it, I'm sorry.
But the
It was
public
postponed.
hearings have been held, so
Yeah,
all
but,
the public speaking has been, those opportunities have been there.
And we determined even that night that there's businesses operating beside you and right down the road from you and right down the road from them and right down the road from them, that's all businesses, that's not operating correctly, but they're businesses.
Correct.
And they're operating in an ag zone, which they're all wrong. Technically, if you wanna get down to the black and white
Yes.
of it, every one of those businesses are wrong.
That's correct.
But if they meet the criteria, like Mr. Hightower's business does, they can now come in and get a conditional use permit
Yes,
without having to
that
be
will fix
rezoned,
that,
and
yes,
that'll fix it.
100%, that is a good fix. But that's not what you actually wanted to begin with.
Correct.
You're willing to sidestep, but that's not what you want.
Right.
You actually came in asking for a business rezone.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So, do you want the board to vote tonight on the business rezone? Again, if it's denied, you can apply for the
still apply
conditional
to
use
That's right.
tomorrow.
Let's do that.
Okay.
But that,
Because, it either has to be voted on, or the applicant has to withdraw it. So if he doesn't want to withdraw it, need a motion tonight on how to act.
I apologize for the.
Yeah, absolutely.
runaround.
So do I.
All right. Ask for a motion to approve or deny the rezone from A1 to business.
I'll make a motion to deny.
I have a motion to deny by Mr. Doctor.
I will second that motion, and with my apologies to Zach. I absolutely am 100% committed that he ought to be able to conduct his business where that is. I do feel like that is not appropriate for a business zone, and everything that could potentially happen in the business zone. And I absolutely apologize for the delay that this is causing you. Now we open for discussion again.
Open for discussion, yes, sir, I have a first and second.
First question I'm gonna ask, then, Mike, is it all right for this young man to still conduct his business there? I mean, we already helped him up for 3 months, and and on the other side of the coin, I don't think it's fair to the neighbors that one showed up tonight with the intent to make public comment on this, and forgive me, but the problem's not here with Zach, and the problem's not with the neighbors. The problem lies down the hallway, and we gotta fix that.
So, whether to enforce the current classification is up to the administration, and I think we all understand where this is, and I would not expect, that's the chairman's call, but I don't hear anybody saying we're going to, clamp down on him before he has a chance to file a conditional use application.
So in this with Mr. Hightower, here's one of the sticking points. He has a desire to expand the buildings to add to, and then add additional buildings there on the property. And I've had a point of disagreement with Ms. Fortson on this, and would like for you to help us out here tonight. There currently is a non-conforming A2 property because it's smaller than 5 acres, but it has been that way all along. Would his adding buildings increase the non-conformity? Can he, under our ordinance, can he construct those buildings in a acreage that is non-conforming? That does not increase his non-conformance.
It increases the area in which the nonconformity occurs, and if I remember right, we looked at that before and said, yeah, you really can't do that under the existing ordinance, under his existing classification. Now, if he wanted to go ahead and start that, well, first of all, I don't know if he could get a building permit to start that, if a building permit is required.
And here's where I draw a parallel. If I have a parcel that is zoned RR, let's say I have a parcel that is zoned A2 and it is less than 5 acres, you know, let's pick one a little simpler. Say I have a parcel that is zoned RR, but it is less than 2 acres.
Right.
But I want to build a house. I will get a building permit for that. I will be given a building permit for that.
Right.
But so what is the difference in, so you're allowing...
Use variance versus area variance. Okay? So there's 2 types of nonconformity in general.
Okay.
You can be, so what we have with Mr. Hightower's situation is what at least I'm told is a grandfather situation on use. It's so that he's got a pre-existing business that is entitled to continue in its current everything, which includes the area of building and land that it uses. And I was going to look it up, but I remember it's in the zoning ordinance. You cannot expand that area that you're using for the non-conforming use.
Mm-hmm. But now, here's, and maybe I'm just trying too hard to help Mr. Hightower out. The buildings that he wants to build would be allowed in an A2 zone. The use that he might eventually use them for would not be. So if he builds a hay storage barn on A2, that would be allowed. So
that's exactly, I mean, he can build...
Actually, A1, so
it's
a lot more broader than that.
He could build those buildings, but he couldn't use them for his chemical business until the conditional use
is granted. That is correct. That's absolutely correct.
So again, and this is iffy and maybe somewhere that we shouldn't go. It is my supposition that the likelihood of a conditional use getting approved is fairly high. So I think the risk to you going ahead and beginning those buildings, getting a building permit and beginning those buildings, and then being frustrated down the road would be minimal. But you have to understand, if you do that and then it does get approved, then those could only be used as appropriate in the A1 zone. Does that make sense?
Yeah, they won't issue him a permit.
Well, they're not gonna issue me a permit,
no nothing.
But they can, as long as, they should issue him a permit, as long as the understanding is those buildings are for uses that are allowed in the A1 zone.
Correct. That's right. That's right. And then, yeah, I don't know why that would be I mean, that's Mr. Hightower's risk, as you just explained.
Yeah. So he would be taking somewhat of a risk that if we then do not approve the conditional use, then he'd be limited to use those for A1 purposes.
Correct.
I made the motion, and it goes back to what I said earlier, a month ago. I thought we got it cleaned up, and I apologize for that. That I am truly sorry. I have reservations with the straight B because of what it could be one day if you sell or whatnot.
Well, I thought reading us up here, everybody had everything worked out.
I thought it was too. That part I am sorry for.
The part I'm really concerned with is
the parcel beside you adjoins Highway 98, and that's exactly where you want business, is on a state highway. So we turn you down, and then the guy that owns the property beside you comes in and says, I'm gonna sell that to a gas station on the side of Highway 98, and we're gonna tell him he can't. But he's directly beside you, no land in between. I think we're trying to stretch this envelope a little too far, because that property is dead on 98, and that is everybody's comp plan wants business on a state highway, and that is directly beside you. What are we gonna tell that guy, and what are you gonna do when we approve his and turn yours down? That's where I'm concerned with. We're not talking 20 parcels down the road. We're not talking 5 miles down the road. We're talking
the nice side.
one parcel from state highway, which has a business at the end of that parcel. So if you're looking at non-conforming, it's pretty well conforming with the business in your back door and the business across the street, being Midway Grocery, which is a farm supply, gas station, / hardware store / groceries.
Then all the other non-conforming around me.
And then they're all non-conforming around you. So everything about this is wrong. The A1's wrong, it's all wrong. But if you try to make it right, you want to try to probably go back to business, which is the adjoining property on the state highway. That's the only right decision here. Why we thought this was not good for a B makes no sense to me, along a state highway.
Because it's not on the state highway.
It's one parcel from it, though.
Well,
and if that guy buys that piece of property,
we
and he
can
comes
argue
in
that
and
all
wants to
day long.
rezone it, but what do we do?
State highway is a state highway. A county road is a county road. What's your frontage? That's my position. And, you know,
So if this guy buys this piece of property, he comes in and wants it zoned to a B, or commercial, we'll more than likely give that to him, and then you can turn around and do it, and then you can come around and rezone it again.
I think we're talking about hypothetical stuff.
No, I'm talking about state highways.
Well, we are. We're talking hypothetical stuff, and what we need to do is focus on trying to work it out for Mr. Hightower. It's in my opinion that we can probably work this out if we go to the conditional zoning it a B. I'm sort of uncomfortable with that also. You know, nothing against you, I'm just uncomfortable with that. But if we, to the conditional, I can tell you, I feel comfortable with that, given, you know, so I'm giving away, you know, where I stand on it. So I'm sort of like Derek here. So, you know, that sort of tells you how I think maybe you could proceed and do what you want to do.
So the conditional use, is it already approved, everything's good to go on it, or?
We approved that.
In the ordinance.
You just have to apply for it.
Yeah, it's more than likely you.
So it's nothing new, Linda knows about it, everybody's up to par with it?
Yeah, we approved that, what, at a meeting when?
A month ago.
A month ago. And we saw that that's what you were coming back for, was for that conditional use.
Right.
But
I thought we were going for a whole ag business zoning.
well,
That is part of the confusion,
Yeah.
because originally in their plans, they were gonna create an ag business
Yeah,
zone,
that's correct.
but they changed the thought process and decided to do it as a conditional use, make it as a conditional use provision instead of.
This is an amendment to what I got now.
Yeah, instead of creating a different zoning class, they just decided it would probably work better as a conditional use within the zoning class that you have, you or any similar.
but I want to be clear on what you just said, and I'm trying to help.
Yes,
Just give me a second. You just said everything's done for the conditional use, you just got to apply for it. It's a process, is that correct?
That's right.
Everything's done from the county's perspective.
Right.
Well,
The ordinance is in place, in other words.
yeah, the ordinance is in place.
Correct.
When you fill out the application, there's still a process
Right.
that has to go through
Right.
for
Same as
hearings
this.
and
Right.
such. So I'm just saying that because I just want to be clear that when you fill out the paperwork, you realize there's some time.
It's not a guarantee.
Yeah.
Time process.
Yeah, I just didn't want, I want to be clear. I don't want you to
Been
be more
nothing but time
frustrated.
here lately, it all seems like.
I don't want you to be more frustrated when you go
That's my
down there
third
tomorrow
time
and fill out
here.
an application and you say, wait a minute, they told me everything was ready. Well, I just.
Well, that's the problem, I don't get no information from Linda, what's going
Well,
on.
I think the chairman
Yeah,
said
when you
he-
file the application, so you'll be given, just like the rezone, you'll be given a sign, or should be given a sign to post.
Mhm.
They'll put an ad in the paper, they'll schedule the meeting with the Planning and Zoning Commission and have their public hearing there. And then it'll come to here, just like the rezone process. And then this board will vote on whether to give you the conditional use permit to conduct this particular type of business and similar businesses. You know, you can read the text, you remember the text, I guess, of the conditional use. So that your land is now still zoned A1, but with a conditional use to conduct any type of business described in that permit, which includes the one you're doing now.
Lee, when is y'all's, business meeting? Is it the first Tuesday in September?
Yeah.
Okay.
First Tuesday.
So you're talking about, actually, we're talking about next week. That could be on y'all's agenda for the business meeting next week, and then there's still time for the public.
No, the ad has to run a certain, like, I think it's at least 15 days before.
It's 2 weeks before their public hearing, right?
Right.
So their public hearing's not until their second meeting. So actually,
Oh, so there would be time.
there is time.
Okay.
So you go down there.
Work session, second meeting.
Yeah, you go down there tomorrow, you'll be on their September agenda. So this would be able to happen in September. And it would come back to us the first meeting in October.
Right.
Again, I do apologize for all this delay. I'm very embarrassed by this, but if you don't get approval here tonight, you could get permits and begin your building. Again, there is some risk there. That's assuming that we would approve.
No, I ain't taking that risk, all this fiasco going on.
I understand that, yeah.
But if we went back to this is the original request which we were given. On it says that Zach wants to expand the building that he has there now. Is there any reason he can't do that? I mean, in putting up 2.5 buildings in addition to 2 other buildings, there's going to be some time in that process. So is there any reason that he can't, under what he originally applied for, expand that building? I think you wanted to add a bay to it.
Yes, sir. To existing.
Well, he can't use that expansion
Use the
for,
bay.
yeah.
That's what I say. He can get building permits, but he can't use them for this business.
And I think actually part of the building permit process, just as a cross-check with zoning, is what is your intended use for this building or addition? So there could be an obstacle.
Well, really, that addition is gonna be parking a truck in, that's all it's gonna be. There's gonna be 2-ton trucks parked in there, so that's agricultural use, parking a truck underneath the barn in it.
That's true.
There you go.
You could park your hay truck there, or tractor, or whatever, so.
So, who's gonna go down there with me tomorrow and let me put a permit with this?
That'll be me. That'll be me. All right, so as of right now, we'll just table this.
No, you got a motion pending.
Yeah, I have a
deny the
motion in a
deed.
second.
We can either vote or you can withdraw, whichever one you want to see.
It ain't gonna make a difference, is it?
Yeah, it really ain't gonna make no difference.
That's right.
I guess we go here, but I would like to, particularly because of all the confusion, I would like to make a motion to waive his fees on his next application if he decides to do that. Now, would that be appropriate to put that in this discussion? Did that need to be separate from?
Well, because we did not go through with his first rezone, he can withdraw that first rezone request.
Either way.
Yeah, and take the financials from that side and put it towards this.
What I asked is appropriate to do it separate from this vote.
Probably separate, yeah.
But wouldn't that be correct, because we did not follow through with the actual rezone, we stopped it?
To be honest, I don't even know if it's in the
I'd have to
zoning
look at
ordinance.
that, but I think we could get that money back, and then you turn around and reapply it on this variance. Or, I'm sorry, this
But
conditional use.
I'll put that.
We'll take care of it, yeah.
Yeah, to be more certain that way.
We'll figure something out, we'll take care of it.
So what do we do?
You wanna you can withdraw?
I'm gonna put a blame on y'all deny me.
Huh? You wanted to make the headline, don't you?
I've been in the front page of the paper twice already, so let's make it a third.
That's good publicity, right?
Well, I have a first and a second, Derek?
It's Brian's turn.
No, it's Brian.
Oh, yeah. What is that?
Yes,
The
it's
motion-
yeah.
Yes.
The motion tonight, yeah. Yes.
now in the morning.
I'll see you
Start
tomorrow.
over.
See y'all.
Yes,
All right. But just
Whoa, whoa,
for
whoa.
conversation, you're going
I'm
down there with, okay.
I think Commissioner, I think I made a motion.
I'd like to make the motion that Mr. Hightower's fees for his conditional use application be waived.
So,
Motion by Mr. Chandler, second by Derek. Derek,
yes.
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 See you tomorrow.
take care.
Appreciate it.
You'll be on their September agenda. It's frustrating.
All right.
Can I make a comment here to tail on to what all this parcel that's between, and this is a problem with zoning, to expand on that, with zoning in this county, it's listed as an A2, but that was a well drilling business for years and years and years. The parcel immediately between him and Highway 98 was business. It never was farm, unless growing scrub trees is farming. It was a well drilling business. And in the sense that Zach's business takes place somewhere else, it's no different than what the well drilling business was. There was
a problem historically, the way the original zoning classifications were granted. You essentially were allowed to put whatever zone on your property you wanted to. You could either, there was a committee that put put some zoning classifications out there, and if you didn't like what you got, then you just go back and request, and your property got zoned whatever you wanted it to be.
Whether it fit your use or not.
That's exactly right.
So the reason they would have done that, because it was cheaper on taxes. Because if it was a business to begin with, and he'd come along and says, I'm out of the well drilling business, I'd rather it be ag, because ag will be cheaper.
Well, then I'd have to say that takes us further into this right here.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I'm new at the table and I ain't that smart at this stuff, but this is governance here, and somebody needs to step up on some of this stuff. I mean, at the end of the day.
But part of all of this, in my mind, needs to be looked at as we do our comprehensive plan.
That's right.
I mean, I feel strong about that too. I mean, and I'll say the sins of the past doesn't mean that's just the license for the
It
future.
doesn't mean we have to carry on business as usual.
That's
We got
exactly right.
We got to start somewhere.
Gotta be totally different and looked at and scrutinized.
That's correct.
Consider approving a resolution adopting the broadband amendment to the comprehensive plan. Christina, you want to explain this? You told me earlier.
Yes,
It's just a formality.
These are the amendments to the comp plan that were approved by the DCA on August the 4th. The last time we voted on that, the board approved the amendments to the comp plan, we sent it to DCA for them to approve it, and we sent the resolution with it. Well, the resolution was dated the night of the meeting, which the DCA can't accept that because the amendments weren't approved until August 4th. So this is just us adopting that on August 30th, which is after the original approval date. This is when the DCA can accept it.
And this has the changes, didn't you have some?
This is different.
Yeah, that's the next one.
This is already, actually the board has already voted and approved this, and so
Okay.
we're
But
just
because we have to change the date, we
You
have
just
to
approved
revote
it
it.
too fast. They
Yeah.
want you to approve it.
that we're
All right.
too far ahead
Oh,
of
this is,
schedule.
this is the other one, okay.
I'll ask for a motion to approve or deny the broadband amendment and comprehensive plan.
Approve the resolution.
Yeah, resolution.
Comprehensive plan.
I made a motion.
I did.
Oh, I'm sorry, Terry, I apologize.
Okay, I second.
Motion by Mr. Chandler, second by Mr. Adams, all in favor. Any discussions? Hearing none, Terry.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
All right, good deal. Now we can move forward with that. Discuss submitting a request for proposal for the development of a comp plan. We may be a little early on this, because I know Mike got out an email to everybody late this afternoon.
Actually, I think I just sent it to you and Derek. You're
Oh,
the only ones
okay.
I talked to about it, but,
I do think it's definitely a work session type item, because there's gonna be a lot of questions and answers, and what Mike's asking right there, are perfect. I mean, that's good questions, and I appreciate you getting that out. But I feel like we probably need to just let this roll over to our work session. What do you think? All right.
I'll send this to everybody in the meantime, if that's.
Yeah, no, I appreciate your input on that because they're very valid questions. And with saying that, you know, a lot of what Danny and Derek and everybody at this table said, if we can get through the next 12 months and really commit and get this comp plan, it's gonna fix a lot of our underlying problems. And it's just, we just don't have anything to go by right now. And I know it gets, you know, you get passionate about it, I get passionate, and everybody at the table does, and it's just because there's so many loopholes that never got filled, I believe, if we do this correctly. And at this point, it don't matter the cost, because we're only fixing problems. We gotta get it right. It does, I don't want it to come out wrong, it don't matter what the cost is, but we wanna spend it to get it right, because somebody out there will panic over it.
The chairman said money is no object. You got
Yeah, no, somebody did say that.
Thank you for that.
Oh, Morgan & Morgan, insurance companies have endless money, I don't know where the hell they got that, but.
No object.
All right, so we'll move that over to the work session. All right, consider adopting Wesley Chapel Drive as a county road. All the signatures are in.
You ready for a motion?
I'm ready for a motion, sir. I'll ask for a motion to approve or deny adopting Wesley Chapel Drive.
Mr. Chairman, I move we proceed with adopting Wesley Chapel Chapel Drive as a county road.
I have a motion by Mr. Chandler. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Doster. All in favor, Mr. Adams.
Discussion?
Oh, discussion, yeah, sorry.
What's the condition of the road now? What is it now, is it dirt, just gravel? And we have the right of ways already staked and,
Yes.
or easements
Yes.
already
Yes,
squared?
we'll talk about that here.
Okay.
Property owners has already come in and signed everything granting us to go to the right of way.
I don't remember if that's been discussed since Mr. Adams been on the board, but that's part of the process for adopting a county road. All the landowners have to sign right-of-way deeds to give us a minimum of 60 feet, 30 feet on each side, because that's what we have to qualify for LMIG money to improve in the future.
Yeah. Thank you, Mike.
I know we've closed a couple of roads, I don't think we're taking any else.
Yeah.
Any new roads, they have to be to the county specs.
Correct.
Before they could be adopted, but this is one of those problematic things for somebody putting in a private drive with 4 people on it. If they were suffering through it.
Meaning if a subdivision decided to go in and build their own road, they'd have to build it to county spec, had us take it over. All right, so I have a motion and a second. Mr. Adams, it's on you.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen. New business, discuss purchasing an EMS, director vehicle. So, I don't know exactly what year Clayton Lowe was here, but Bobby Smith, our EMS director, has been driving his Crown Vic. So do the math on that one. And, we are completely out of vehicles. Every spare vehicle we have is, the need of repair is greater than the value of the vehicle. Let's put it that way. I will tell you, in speaking with Kathy, we are well under budget. We can make this work if we need to go into next year's budget. But right now, there's about a 3-month waiting if I ordered one today. And now this will not be anything special. This is a plain Jane pickup truck that we will put lights on. The quotes that we have right now, they don't know if they can fulfill them before November, but they're running around $32,000 for the truck, and then about $6,000 to have them upfitted, meaning with the lights package for the EMA director.
You have any potential for seizure vehicles?
Michael did not say he had anything. As a matter of fact,
I've asked that question.
yeah, well, I asked that question, and he said there was nothing safe enough he'd put anybody in.
Bobby, doesn't he also act as in the event of a weather?
Yeah,
EMA.
Would it not be prudent to look at the vehicle being a 4-wheel drive vehicle?
It is.
That is
For
exactly
32?
what we quoted, a rubber floor matted, four-wheel drive, similar to the one we just bought.
And for 32.
It was 32 to 33
30
thousand,
change,
yeah.
yeah.
And it's changing about every 2 weeks. We called the same dealership, last Friday, and the price went $500 difference in 3 weeks prior to that. And because of the chip problem and the computer problems, they don't know when they go. I'll be honest with you, I was on the phone with Akins Ford, they told me they had 150 new vehicles, they normally keep 1,500. And he told me, I said, well, this truck supposedly is at Brannon Ford down, near the Alabama line. And, Joey Lewine, which is a sales manager for Akins, told me if you can find one, you better get it, 'cause I don't know.
I would agree with
So
that.
are we, so we're purchasing new lights and equipment, it's not coming off of the old?
We don't have an old one, we had a Crown Vic,
Oh, we have
a
Crown Vic.
2006 Crown
That's what he
Vic.
had.
Yeah.
So what about the radio? We purchased a new radio too?
Well, we'll be able to swap
Swap the
radios,
radio?
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you're looking at about a $40,000 purchase by the time you're done upfitting it.
To
for
get
lights.
everything like it?
Yes.
Yeah, I just think when we do it, we ought to do it right.
Yeah.
Whatever, you know.
Unlike,
I agree with saving as much money as we can,
yeah,
but let's don't be so,
yeah. Well, you're fixing to hear good news here in just a second.
On
I
this,
think now we get-
for clarity, you said we're under budget. I mean, are you talking about overall general fund budget?
Overall
You're
general
talking
fund
about the EMS director budget?
No.
What, I mean, what are you?
Overall general fund budget.
So you need a motion on this?
Well, again, we can wait until we go into a work session and I can get more quotes. I'll tell you what, we called Murdoch Wednesday. We called them 3 times a day. They can't put us together a package for a quote because they don't have any vehicles to put together. So, no matter what we do, we're several months out, I think, or a few months out.
so you can give us some more information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can try to get you more quotes. I have one quote right now.
Could we not, though, move ahead, that if we run into the deal, he can go ahead and execute it rather than us wait?
Well, I was about to remind everybody, remember at the end of last year,
Yeah.
we amended the purchasing policy, so the chairman actually has purchasing authority up
Yeah,
to
I'm just putting it
$100,000.
out there for you guys so y'all know the situation we're in. That's all.
So, yeah, if the chairman finds a great deal that he just feels like he can't wait for the next meeting, he has the authority to do it.
And honestly, if we gotta wait a couple months, we got to. I just wanted y'all's opinion. That's all this was an informational opinion type statement. All right. Number 12, disregard. Because we done that on the special call the other day. Right. All right, road updates. A lot of people that live on Adams Park are very happy. I have it here, yeah. Adams Park is paved. The road department, planned to begin grading and graveling Roy Woods Road and Piedmont Park this week. We have several roads that we just completed, but with Allen, Derrick, and Hoss being out, I don't have an accurate list.
Excellent job on Jones Road and Hilly Road.
Just do that, that's my little list of
Okay.
I appreciate this.
Thank you.
We're getting on Roy Woods Road because there's some really good areas on it that's been taken care of, and then there's some really bad areas on it. So I'm glad we're making that a priority because I've had a lot of folks contacting me about that road. So that's.
Thank you, Dennis.
There's nothing big on there, it's
That's
just.
fine. No, that's fine. Terry?
I'd say excellent job on the repair. The Jones Road was a disaster. It looks great now. And also an excellent job on Hilly Road.
Okay, thank you. Any other ones that you know of off the top of your head?
We need some, pothole work on Bishop Carey.
I know that is one that's
They did
gonna
some
be.
good work on Hudson River Church Road, 2 or 3 weeks ago. I talked to Derek and he handled those for me. There's several of Bishop Carey Road.
Okay. That road is one of the roads that's, for consideration for the next round of paving. Matter of fact, it's top of the list on it. It is.
Well,
Besides
Roy Woods, but then, you know, and I hate to keep bringing it, But the Macedonia Church Road, we're fixing the potholes on that road, but because we got a lot of trucks
Yeah.
that go that road, we can fix it, and then it just comes apart again. And so now we've got some potholes, and I get people calling me from both ends of the road, which part of it's in my district and part of it's in yours, and so I don't know what we can do with it.
Well, it's 100% into the next deal. We're gonna have to go in and we're gonna have to mill that road.
Yeah.
It's gonna take it back down, we're gonna start over because right now it is a pothole road. It's a pothole paved road. They
And
just
the base is
connect.
the base is not good on that
Yeah,
road.
it's alligated up pretty bad and you're gonna have to take it way down to bring it
So,
back.
and I guess that's the point too, that when we start looking at those repaving for next year, we need to make sure that's on the list and gets consideration.
Yes, sir. It's actually already on the list.
Yeah.
Thank you. Derek?
I think the guys, I talked to Alan earlier, about like some tree trimming on Wagner Grove Church Road.
Yes.
I think they got that, and,
They should've been there today.
okay, and I think Alan's gonna check, AT Chandler, some potholes and whatnot. I know it's just hard roads, I think no ditches and stuff on it to hold. And I've had a couple requests, Childers Road, where we put the no truck signs up. I reached out to the Sheriff's Department, they said they'd try to start, making sure the deputies know that, for those residents. And then had a couple residents ask about, the next round of LMIG and stuff, and some of the roads they were talking about, I'm not sure if that's appropriate or if that should be, kind of consideration if the T-Splosh passes. I mean, just.
Oh, yeah.
I think all of it's gonna kind of come to a head right there altogether.
Yes, sir.
If that passes, we know there's a bigger pot of money to deal with and vice versa, so.
And,
Did you ever hear from Ed Brown, if he ever found out whose speed trucks those were that were coming through? That would be helpful. If we find out who that was, we just call the speed mills and tell them to run out and stop.
I think he did shoot me a license plate, and I need to share that with the officials.
The email I got from him said the trucks weren't identified. That surprised me.
all right. So that'll wrap up, road updates. I don't have any urgent matters. I think we took care of just about every one of them. Statements and remarks from citizens. Anybody? Go ahead, Mr. Jacob.
My name is Dragon Simon, as you guys know that, and I'm not gonna come up front, but I just want to commend the board on the effort you're putting into the new comprehensive plan. The plan is really important, and I think some real sincerity this time on the part of the board to do it right. And hopefully we'll end up with something more than a colorful map on the wall that doesn't apply to anybody. And so I hope each and every one of you, the effort you're putting into it, that we will stick to the comprehensive plan. And it looks like we're headed in the right direction, so I'm not going to talk about anything else other than that, but thank you for putting so much effort into that.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Harbin, Ms. Harbin, either one?
Those right-of-way deeds, that y'all get, is there any way I could get information on those? We all are reclaiming these road right-of-ways or accepting them like if they're, so we can keep track of it as far as. The planning office is somewhat keeping track of it, but it's very hard to get the information. It'd be a whole lot easier if instead, they'd just go with the wind. We had some kind of database or something like that.
That should not be a problem. Alan gets every one of them and turns them in down there. We just get you some copies. Just as a matter of fact, we're ordering a scanner, which is, believe it or not, it's pretty inexpensive, to start scanning in all of our older documents and going to a log. So that'll make it a lot easier than having all these old binders.
Some of these people retire, they take that knowledge with them, and that knowledge,
and
with the
we're
technology we have, it'd be great to be able to have that stuff scanned and something there.
And this is something I need to bring up, and I should have done other matters when I said there wasn't nothing else. But Mr. Harbin, we may want to look at this with the IDA about the building that they're potentially going to move into, which is the old Board of Elections office, the registrar's office. They've asked about whether to lease that building whether to purchase that building or whether we wanna grant them over that building for $1. Personally, I'm not interested in leasing it just for the fact that, I don't want the upkeep of it for the next 20 years. If we give that building over to them, we would have to request Mr. Harvin to come in, and split that piece of property, because that property and the DA's office property, the way the property line goes, it goes right through the middle of the DA's parking lot. So.
Oh, so we're gonna need
Yeah,
to
so we'd have to
survey on
shift that
anyway.
property line, and the second thing is, and we can discuss all this in the work session, the second thing is the church up here. If we decide, you know, where we're at on that, if we're gonna deed that cemetery over, then I'll have to have Mr. Harvin come out and literally draw off the part that we're gonna keep. If y'all choose to, I can go ahead and have him look at that.
Do we ever get that information from the city of Janesville and have them their budget information, what has happened with their, endowment that they had, how they've invested, what dollars that they have,
Yeah.
what their budget?
Verbally, yes, they read off what they had to me, just over the phone. I don't have it in writing, but I can get it. And right now, obviously, the 60,000 is there, because I couldn't spend it. All they can spend is everything over that, but I think they're up to about 84,000 now.
I'd like to see that information.
Yeah, it can never go under it. It'll always have to be above it. So with that being said, on the work session, we'll discuss moving forward with Mr. Harvin on both of those locations if we choose to.
Well, I got the church I've already got on the schedule up here.
Okay.
So I'd say next week I should have a plat for you then on that, and then y'all can figure out what you wanna do with it.
Okay.
Yeah. But to his point on the right-of-ways, whether we abandon or accept, would those meeting minutes, would it be appropriate, I guess, to attach that almost to the, from a deed standpoint? So
There
if you
needs to be a
did,
mechanism to make sure that
if you
occurs.
looked at that parcel,
Well, now, those right-of-way deeds that we're acquiring, I mean, there's deeds both ways. So, I mean, those right-of-way deeds, I think I remember emailing with either you or Rhonda about them, and y'all just went ahead and got them recorded directly, or maybe you don't
It
record.
was Rhonda and Alan, and I think Todd was able to walk in, the last property owner on that road, he walked in and signed it over.
Correct.
And Rhonda and Alan, they just both happened to be in there, and they handled the situation, so I'm not familiar
Yeah,
with
I
the
mean,
right-of-way.
normally, the clerk's office just takes it, I mean, the
Yeah.
county clerk takes it down to the clerk of court and gets those recorded.
Right.
And, you know, trying to figure out how to say it, there's always supposed to have been record, you know, paper copies of those in the road department files. And when I first started here, those were not very good. I think they've gotten a lot better since Alan's been running it.
We have a book that has every county road, private or county, every road in the county, and it's listed out, whether the county owns it, how much of it's dirt, how much of it is asphalt, and it also shows you the right of way out beside it.
Right.
And it's right away, and it come down there, this one may be 60, and the one right up under it may be 40, but they're all recorded in this one book.
Now, if it was absolutely perfect, in that book, it'd also have the right-of-way deed book and page number.
No, I don't think it's that far.
It's not that sophisticated.
It's a good reference tool, but it ain't that good.
but again, going back to like this one, there's 4 property owners. Can you take that deed and attach it to each one of those parcels? So if somebody like Ms. Harwood's going to do a survey and he pulled it up, it would already be there.
I think the tax assessor, like the Q Public that they're running, is not like a GIS database where they can tag it, what you're thinking, where you go pull it up, you can change your category to right-of-way deed or something like that, pull that pertinent information out, but, you know, what they're running, I think, is more for tax purposes. I think the book works well. We just need to convert it to a spreadsheet where we got an actual document that's backed up somewhere. Because I know some roads, we saw 80-foot right-of-way, they say 60-foot right-of-way, we have conflicting plats, and Linda doesn't really know what to do when we go through things, so it'd be nice to get it figured out.
Well, this is, and Margie knows this, or she can probably remember back to this, but that red light in Danielsville that used to be there, all 4 sides had a different right-of-way, a state right-of-way. On one side of the red light, you had 8 foot, on this side of the road, this side of the road had 20 feet, and then on this side, you had 40, and on that side, you had 60. It was a mess. I mean, it was a complete mess. But, anyway, yeah, I get it, so yeah, you're right.
Y'all are doing a great job with it, so that's what I'm saying is, with all this road work, be nice to capture all that data too, so going forward, you know.
Yes, sir.
Now, let me say too, sent to the surveyor when he looks at this, so he can cuss me now and not later. When you see these deeds, they're gonna be what you're all used to seeing, which is by tax parcel number and 30 feet from the center line.
That's all I need, yeah.
Okay.
That's it. I mean, basically then, what I do is I've got a spreadsheet, and I keep all those road names in, and I keep one of those deeds, and, you know, if it ever comes up, and, you know, like I say.
Do you have that copy of that book that I have?
I've gone through the book with Linda.
I'll get you a copy of the whole book, because if you're gonna do county surveying, you're gonna want this book.
So,
Yeah, I mean,
just going back to this, who, in improving those records, who should be the keeper? The keeper.
Well, technically, would be planning and zoning.
Okay.
Well, I take that back.
It's you the board of revenue and roads, right?
Yeah.
No,
Roads and revenue.
Look, I'm just,
The deed records is in the clerk of court's office, but
yeah.
raise your hand if you want it.
No, I'm just saying though, but which department should be it should be the planning and zoning, right?
No, I'm wrong. No, sir. On right-of-way deeds,
Should be.
the road department
Road
should have
department.
it.
And so we got the
The
book.
filed deed would be in the clerk
Yeah.
of court's office.
So I understand there may be some expense to that, but, you know, I guess we need to find out what we need to have happen to make sure that we start getting there. You know, it goes back to this, like we talked about the comprehensive plan and then talking about how we've been doing stuff and then how we ought to do it. And so it may take something to get there, but we ought to
You're right.
look at it and say, okay, we don't have enough resources, and, you know, if the fact is we can't get enough right at this moment, well, how do we plan to get there? You know what I'm saying?
We need a public admin intern from UGA to come over.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you look at this county from the outside looking in, you see a pretty good picture. But if you really sit and study it like a crystal ball, you'll see fractures everywhere.
Well,
But I can promise you, what I've noticed, and Denny asked me earlier today, Denny, you asked me a question, she says, you know, how are we doing? Well, I'll tell you, Dennis, every Monday morning that I come in, for one, I'm glad to be here, but when Friday when I leave, we get something accomplished every week. Christina will attest to this. It is a fractured glass, but it seems like we're steadily putting the pieces together. And you are right.
I keep a logbook of the folks that call me at home. Since I got myself elected, I've had a lady up there on Adams Duncan Road call me every week wanting to know when that road's going to be paved. This week she called me wanting to know who was going to get the tar off her car when they paved it. You know, I said, ma'am, I don't think you voted for me, did you?
Well, you know, paving a road is a double-edged sword, and I'll tell you, and that lady's probably right in what she said in her mind. She was probably right in her mind.
Well, you got a '68 Buick that you go out to get that tar off of, because I told her to come see you tomorrow.
You should teach a seminar.
I can get it, buddy.
Convention.
that's like the 85-year-old man that lives on Roy Woods Road.
He called me today.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
He's calling me about every other day. I love the man. He's right. They think they'll be taken care of.
So the lady on Swamp Guinea posted and called and said, thank you for paving this road.
Yeah.
The potholes is gone. Now can we have speed bumps? And I said, why? And she said, well, before the potholes slowed them down because they had to dodge them, and now that it's smooth, they're flying.
There you go.
And I just said, ma'am, I don't know what to tell you, you know.
There you go.
I was tickled that she was happy right up to the point that she wasn't, so.
You put the potholes back.
Yes.
Like you mentioned urgent matters, you'll put it there.
Yes, sir.
I've had conversations with some of y'all and several of my constituents concerned about building code, and they're not being violated, but we're getting some houses that are, at least in our minds, substandard that are being built. I talked to a code enforcement officer who had conversations with our building inspector about what can be done, and there are other, Mike, I'm directing this to you to give some help. There are other municipalities around who have adopted building codes that are above the national building codes. And I asked, the question I posed to Chris is, what is the process? And he says it goes beyond something that we as commissioners can adopt. I asked him if he and Eddie could get together a proposal of what specifically need to be addressed. I know there's electrical issues, there's substandard framing issues, anyway, several issues, and should we address those? But he said anything that we propose has to be approved at another level. Are you aware of that? Can you give us some guidance on that?
I think what they're talking about, so what we have now is the state minimum building codes,
Right.
and there's a list of, 13, 15, something like that. And it includes, it's not just your KBO, but it's got your electrical, mechanical, and
It's
all that.
all that's based on a national building code.
And that's pretty much all national standard stuff, right? The state of Georgia says which ones every jurisdiction in Georgia has to enforce, so those are the state minimum codes. I know if you want to deviate from any of those state minimum codes, you have to get DCA approval to do it.
Okay.
If you want to adopt just additional codes that are out there at the national level that aren't on that list of state minimums, I don't know what kind of approval, if any, is required for that.
Yeah. You wouldn't have to outside of that scope. So the state and national, building codes is just a benchmark. We can be a lot more strenuous if we choose to. We just have to get okay through DCA, like you said. But if it's not in their book, you can implement what you like.
So would it be appropriate for us to get Eddie, get the building inspector and the code enforcement officer to assemble for us a list of the areas that they feel like we are most hurting, and approach us with some higher standards than what we're currently operating under?
Yeah, I mean, what Eddie does right now is he just goes by the state building codes. I've never, from being in the building business, I'd never agreed to a 2-foot center wall on a vinyl sided home, because they're wavy. The state says it's okay, but their HUD qualifications a lot of times are more strict than even the state qualifications. So I would disagree with it, and I wish we had 16-inch centers on everything, but I have no problem with it. We can
adopt.
I can
I
have them start working on a punch list.
Yeah, a step further is because, I don't know all these buildings. Eddie's the expert, I would think. So not just a list of the problems, but what additional codes or amendments to the existing codes do they suggest to address the problems?
Let me make a couple of suggestions and what would be the best way. I know there are other municipalities around here that have already, I think Winterville's one, Watkinsville, anyway, there are several others that have already adopted.
County, maybe.
Yeah, let's just start with what they have.
Sure.
And see if that's an appropriate place for us to start, and see how much of that, if any, we should adopt and put into play.
Yeah, Coney County, I know, had some, and I'm not saying that we want to totally take that, but we ought to look at some of the things that they've implemented.
Well, the sad part for the consumer is, once it's framed, and Dennis will know this with the plumbing background, once it's framed and has sheetrock on it, the buyer don't know what they're buying.
That's right.
Because they're not seeing it. It's the skeleton that matters, but it's the skeleton that don't actually see. And that's why you end up with.
When we're talking about these slab-on-grade houses and 24-inch centers, that's what we're talking about.
That's right.
And, I know Oconee County they banned those.
Yeah.
It's just no ifs, ands, and buts. You can go out there and build a 2-car garage and that be it, but it's not going to be considered a home. I will say this, in my personal opinion, I think it would take housing in this county to another level in the direction we want to go if we look at that. I would
be prepared for differing opinions from the development community.
Correct.
Sure.
Sure. But, and we do want to have some affordable housing, but we want to have good affordable.
That's right.
Yes, sir, I appreciate that.
All right.
Give Chris.
That's why the commercial plumbing, not residential.
Any other statements or remarks from commissioners? Is there any executive session to discuss real estate acquisitions, personal matters, or potential litigation?
No, sir.
Thank you. Motion to adjourn.
Mr. Pruitt, can I see you before you leave?
Sure.
I'm eating just for a second.
Okay.
I'll make some motion.
All right.
Motion
Mr.
All right.
Be like Ponzi, welcome to my office.
Second by Derek.
Clock's still running.
All in favor? Yep. Thank you, gentlemen.
Other than that question, I just asked the question I was gonna.
I can,
Good meeting,
since
guys.
I'm taking over for Rhonda, when we adopt those, I can just mentally note to add those right-of-way deeds with that paperwork, I'll bring it to y'all.
Mentioned to you the other day.
No, I'm still,
okay.
Hold on, I can hear.
Couldn't get anywhere with me.
The last thing I got, he could not justify. Well,
I said, since I'm taking over for Rhonda, whenever we adopt those, I can make a note to.
$25,000 chance.
For you and for the board.
actually, the first thing I thought was.
I didn't even.
Thank you, gentlemen.
But is there somewhere we can go to at the state level to get a ruling on this?
But the other thing,
Question answered.
Well, that's the sort of.
I mean, I don't think signs on it.
He tells me, and I believe it.
You know,
This is the
send a
way.
copy back to those property owners.
Yeah.
And like, here's.
Yeah, we
And what I was
got one.
actually kinda getting at was
Every
like,
county attorney in the
you know,
state
I know there's a bullet,
would,
okay. But
would
I
be
agree.
prison.
if somebody wants to pay on the
Instructors.
Right.
and somebody was doing a title search.
They pay. And I used to have done this multiple times, so that was gonna come back to my first come back.
And it's attached.
Well,
We're
not,
not, you know,
they're telling you this, ask me if you can put that back for us, you know, that's something we can rely on. Ask them to do that.
Different question.
Okay.
And thank you for following up on that.
Yeah, I don't know what to do about that, but.
The other side of that, the existing poultry house that is there, was built in 1997, which is after zoning was instituted. So what was the criteria that allowed him to cross the property line with that one that's there?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's one that's there, that's already crossed the property line.
And he wants to build another one.
There will be parallel to it, yeah. Again, it gives him plenty of, he meets all the buffer from his exterior property lines.
Right,
But he would have to encroach on his interior property lines and possibly cross one of them.
yeah. So, you know, what he could do is file a suit, file a knowledge service. He could file a suit for, mandamus to, allow him to combine, record that recombination plat without penalty on Cuba. And,
Would you represent him?
no, but I would advise my client that we have no defense and we should confess judgment and let him do it.
Yeah, you just,
Yeah,
I mean, I hate to have to go through something like that.
I know.
think there's gotta be a reasonable way to make it happen. In talking with Robin, this is really just going around the elbow to get people under your nose. He said it would not violate Cuba if he can redraw his property lines as long as each individual parcel remains the same acreage. And again, he ends up having to spend $7,000 or $8,000 to go and do something he ought to just be allowed to do anyway.
right. That's.
The other question I had.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Man, where was I going with that? Oh, okay. Planning and zoning, when they advertised for, like, these zoning amendments, presented, the changes in the zoning ordinances, if they do any advertising on those, it just says, change in ordinance 7.1. In other words, there's no printing out of what the ordinance is and then should that not occur?
It'd be nice, I don't know that, yeah. There's no real legal standard on the text amendments. You know, on rezones, it's real clear, existing zone, new zone. I mean, I would think if you call a guy preparing in Oconee County, he'd tell you, of course, I put a summary in there of what change is.
So we can just, we as a board can just say, whenever the zoning administrator has a change, then they're to put that in text.
Yeah, or Todd as his direct supervisor could just tell her that's.
Simple enough.
That'd be very easy.
It should read almost like an addendum to our, when we do a set of plans, it tells you this paragraph displaces or this word is removed.
That's right.
You know.
Yeah.
Because what happens, what we don't want to happen is what happened in this last round of amendment presentations. The public doesn't know what's going on, we had no public comment.
Oh, yeah, right, yeah, because they have no idea.
And there were a couple of those, I guarantee you, we would have had public comment on.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it would be as easy as, and Guy is a wonderful fellow. He would be happy to come over here, or maybe have Linda come to him, but, you know, just give us his forms and show this is how I do it, and he really does a good job in Oconee County.
I believe I prefer him to come here.
You can't afford it, but if you could, you should. You had something.
Just, yeah, that Danny Martin.
Yeah, which road is that?
It's on Transco Road.
Oh, Transco. Okay.
Transco Road. And it's kind
Oh,
of,
you talking about the lake over there?
he got several, he got three parcels that are right next to each other.
They've already done it, they
He's got
started
his
draining.
house, he's got a breeder hen house.
Right.
His house, I don't know, maybe his house is like this. You got another you got three different parcels anyway. The breeder house is existing, crosses an interior property line already.
Right, yeah.
He wants to build the other one right parallel to
Because I met,
They should have
He
never
has,
done that.
he has
well,
plenty
I
of,
met over there.
he actually has good,
Josh and
really good, he's plenty of setback, he has plenty of buffer. So it'd be ideal, it's absolutely where it needs to be.
engineer,
But
and
the
I spoke to the EPA.
Those three parcels,
Yeah.
and he'd be glad to combine them, but under
Yeah.
covenant that
We
we
never
never
apply
apply
civics permits for water use.
And that's
And in talking to Robert,
Water
they said, you
plan.
cannot,
Right.
you can't combine them.
None of that was ever done prior to the purchase of it.
Right.
Which is
is
screwy.
Yeah,
I mean, we couldn't.
So-
Anyway, I had to ask.
Yeah, that's what I knew you were
We
asking,
couldn't
so.
screw this up anymore than we did. I mean, as a county, we really couldn't.
We
probably recorded.
Do you know what,
But we hadn't run into them since I've been.
any idea which way to?
But
Well, that's what I told him when he called me, I said, let me dig.
The one thing-
This lady's supposed
Oh,
to
don't,
send me
he's in your district, so I don't want to step all over.
No, and that's fine, but you, well,
She
there's other
said it would
things
take
you know a lot
2
more
to 3
about
weeks
than I
to
do,
do
but
it.
you might not deal with
But
that.
anyway, I told him I'd do some digging, so I talked to Linda, and I talked to
She
people.
said you could never draw water out of it.
Gary.
I mean, I know that's what Frank
And
said.
so he told me,
Yeah, I mean,
so I shared the story.
Frank
with
is
Mike,
actually
him
on
dig.
that.
He has since talked to Robin.
Besides flow, water quality.
He's in disagreement, but hasn't got anywhere.
Way.
Apparently,
The one thing I don't
assessors
understand is
locally
why
are the ones that determine whether a
Frank
bridge is
is
a guy.
trying to resist
I know.
it, yes, you're right.
So-
Although it's a state ordinance,
Take it.
the local guys are the ones who
So
decide.
if they decided if it wasn't a breach, then it's not.
He's good to go.
Yeah, like I said, the
Okay,
deal was,
that's
well,
good for me
you
to
know,
know.
you don't
Okay.
have the resources
All right.
to fix it.
There you go.
We're
So
just
look,
sort of
I will be,
public problem.
you just let me know what kind of support you need
Okay.
to help out your friends, because if I just tell them you can say that I'm on board with whatever you do.
You don't even have any, the only lake frontage you get with that dam is over there.
I have to talk to the people at the state and see if they would issue us some sort of ruling.
Yeah.
Well, I can appreciate that they don't want it back, but they, you know, the problem is if they don't want the dam, then they don't get to keep the lake.
Well, that's right.
But
you know,
They have a cake and eat it too.
There were 1 or 2 people at the IDA meeting that were sitting there saying, well, why don't you just deed it back to us? And I thought, well, if you'll take it, I'll draw the deed on the legal path.
Right now.
Last night's comments was, I hope you're willing to use the $5.8 million you're getting for legal fees. And you know, I mean, of course, I didn't respond to it, you know. I mean, if he got $5.8 million, what he spent on meth, he could have fixed the damn dam.
There you go.
I didn't know there was that kind of legal fees available. Let me call my wife.
We can build a reservoir.
That's right.
You obviously in the wrong business.
I figured that out.
I mean, I just, honestly, like, I don't care what we do, let's just do something.
Yeah.
Come in here and look, somebody.
My favorite story. I've seen Jerry Clower twice live.
I had a bunch of his tape for years, because he got dead now.
Yeah. I started practicing law where.
Pick them up on the phone and say stuff like, you know, you sold me this stuff to fertilize my Christmas tree farm, and it was poison, and I sprayed it on my Christmas tree. You it always ended, you know, well, just how big a fellow are you? And, well, why don't you asking me that? 'Cause I'm gonna come over there and you remember George Holland, don't you? Yeah. George and I, we used to deer hunt a lot together, and of course, if you ever got in his truck, you listened to Roy D. Mercer. Sometimes you ever went on vacation with, you know, 6 hours of Roy D. Mercer's plenty. Yeah, 6 hours of anybody's plenty. Do we have a time, seriously, do we have a time frame, or have they discussed the time frame with you?
No, they haven't discussed anything with me beyond what you've heard in the public meeting. I don't know what they plan to do once they clean it down.
And the IDA owns that, all that, right?
Correct.
Yes.